Hi, everybody. This is David Skrika, Prophet from Pessimism. I hope everybody's doing well. This is our free update for August the 7th. We're going to have members will have a trading update tomorrow. So what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at copper and oil. What are they saying about the economy? So I think copper is an interesting trade because of what happened. Like, of course, Trump said he was going to do these tariffs on copper. We saw this big run. I didn't believe any of this run, just so you know. I thought that was totally artificial run based on these tariffs that were never going to stick. So, of course, he took them off on finished copper products, and then we saw a complete tank in the price. And so, it was actually even a bigger tank than what happened here. And what's interesting about this tank in the price is even though, we're still above the lows of, say, 2024 and this spring, is we're not much further. Like, think about what the stock market has done since those lows of the spring. Let's quickly just look at the spiders. Like what stock market was in April, right? And where it is now, right? In terms of being at new highs and the whatnot. And look where copper is. That's where it was in April. It's like barely even above. Copper hit about 4 to 410, and now it's 440. So, we can see that. And like that's why I never believed it. And also, like, if you go look at some of these copper stocks, and this is Freeport McMoran, you can see they never really like they're rallying with the market, right? But they never really rallied during that big copper rally. They never went, because really you don't only get that price in the United States as well, right? So you weren't going to get that price like that. Like, for example, if you look at the copper price on the London Mercantile Exchange, it never went to that $5 level. So it was really, really an artificial level. I'll look at another one. This is Southern Copper, a company in Peru. Yeah, you can see the same thing. A rally, like, okay, there was a little gap up here, but it never really followed through. Like, we're still lower in Southern Copper than we were, in 2024. So, the stocks were showing you they didn't really believe it was real too. So what's that saying about the economy? Is I do think the economy is starting to show you we're seeing weakness now, signs of weakness in the job market. Even with the stock market at all-time highs, we've seen the bond market rally a bit. We're seeing every other market kind of showing signs of softness and weakening, and I think the copper market's the same. And then if we go look at oil, it's the same thing too. You can see again there was this kind of thing here, this bust up here, and then this decline, and then you can see that oil is kind of downtrending, is downtrending since then. All the highs have been lower and the lows have been lower going back for the last year or so, going back into early 2024. So same thing. Well, what is this saying again about the economy? That copper's weak, oil's weak. I think it just means demand is weak. Now, I know that commodities aren't the be all end all for a booming economy. In the 2010s and 1990s, we had basically flat to down commodities markets and the economy did fine. So I know it's not the end all be all, but I do think like in the short term, they can predict like strength, they call it Dr. Copper, all that sort of thing. And I think, again, what's interesting more about copper than oil is that with it going on this decline, it's now back again to these lows here, right? And like for mining companies, they can make tons of money, here at at 440, 450 copper. Like again, we go look at a chart of Southern Copper. This high here, which was 112, and now the company's 97. That's when copper was 450. Now copper's 440. So you can see that these companies can definitely make money, at these levels, and junior miners can make it, etc. 440 is a pretty good level for copper. But I just think the fact that it's going back to more closer to its lows of that spring low than holding up at those highs. Like, look, if that high had really been real and not artificially based, I think you would have seen it hold up. So anyhow, I guess that's about it. That's today. So what are copper and oil saying? Who knows? Let's just quickly look at the oil equities, the XOI. And you see that's kind of downtrending too. Again, kind of rallies occurred with the market, but still that's lagging a bit. So that tells you that the oil companies don't believe that oil is going to see significantly higher prices as well. And again, when that spike in oil happened, which I just showed here, here, I'll go back here, sorry. Okay, oil price, sorry about that. Yeah, here in June, again, the oil companies didn't really like have a huge breakout or anything. Like, let's look at Suncor, it's one of my favorite companies. Yeah, had a little bit of this, and then didn't really go anywhere. So, and then well, let's look at like Exxon, right? Yeah, you can see there was a bit. Actually, Exxon that day had a reversal. So it's like you can see they didn't really have big rallies, et cetera, et cetera. So they didn't really ever believe in that higher price. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, we'll have some more charts maybe on gold and other markets in the coming days. And yeah, members, please note we all have a chart tomorrow for you.